Peace, everybody. Making this video once again. Today is December the 6th, 2022. Speaking is reserved for the very best and brightest amongst us. So, speaking takes a lot of effort. Speaking is one of the most complicated, the greatest skills to have. Some are born with the gift, some practice the gift, and some have no choice but to do the gift, like Moses did when he was forced to talk to Pharaoh to deliver his people from Egypt. Moses was the chosen one. Moses had a speech impediment, but he was the one to get the job done. And that leads me to my first discussion topic. The world doesn't care about your feelings as a man. The world only is concerned about, can you get the job done? The women, the children, the nation expect you to get the job done. Defend and protect the people. Go to the workplace and make it to the end of the day. Bring home the money. Bring home the food. Your feelings is irrelevant. Get the job done. Because a lot of people depend on you as a man. American society has damaged the role of the black man in particular because the United States government stepped in place of the black man to provide women with clothing, food, housing, and money. So they say they don't need a man, and therefore their dependence on the so-called man has diminished. He's not needed to be in. He's looking for a family to defend. He's looking for a woman to provide for, children to provide for. And that's why you had these passport brothers going to other countries looking for traditional women. The American black woman, they have replaced that necessity with the government, the white man. All they care about is the victory, the food, the money, the clothes, the house, the cars, the things that you could bring. The comfort that you could bring, that's what they're concerned with. And let me reiterate, this is the book, my newest book, Enigma number 7. You go to the website, purchase the ebook, and that leads into this next topic. If the people supported me like they supported Nike, the Negro supports Nike, Michael Jordan, billions of dollars. And Jordan is not required, Nike is not required to reciprocate anything back to the Negro. They're not required to invest in the HBCUs. They're not required to build community centers and facilities to cultivate the next generation of blacks. They're not expected to do anything but provide these shoes and clothes that has been produced in a third world country with slave labor. And a Negro lines up to get these shoes to enrich Michael Knight and Michael Jordan and doesn't require anything in return. Also, the Negro lines up to go to the hair salons, the nail shops, the Arab stores all over America. Really, entire nations depend on the American Negro economic support. And none of these nations give anything in return. And the Negro doesn't require them to give anything in return. The Negro believes that their duty, the Negro's duty, is to give money to these people, to give money to Nike, to give resources to Nike. You're just satisfied being in their presence. You feel honored and appreciated to be able to wear their Gucci and Prada. Look what I got on. That brings so-called subjective value to the Negro's psyche. It massages the Negro's ego. But if they supported me as far as purchasing my products, making me into a millionaire, a billionaire, even though they might not require me to reciprocate the money, but I will reciprocate the money. I will be the one building facilities, communities, empowering and then cultivating the next generations, inspiring, leading. But without money, I'm just what you call a poor, righteous so-called teacher with no power and no influence, who's destined to be a bum on the streets, shaking a cup, homeless. And this transitions to the next topic. We're never going to be anything. We have been systematically designed to be poverty, a broke, poor, voting Negro. You're expected to give 95% of your votes to Democrats. And then once you give these votes to Democrats, you're expected to be poor, broke in ghettos, high crime areas, no investment, no businesses. And then the ones who do have inspiration and insight, they get rejected because of the self-fulfilling prophecy, because everybody believes that you're nothing. Anyway, they're not going to do anything to make you something as far as supporting your businesses or putting a fund together to incubate and finance people with business ideas. They're not going to even do anything. Therefore, you're going to have nothing but a bunch of broke failures going to Nike, going to Louis Vuitton, Gucci, going to these Caucasian designers, making these people rich while depriving the people in your own so-called group, in which we're not a group, because a group is a set of individuals with common interests who are interested in each other's growth and development, economic, political success, and mundane success. Without that, you're not a group, because the group cannot exist if the members are not economically capable. If the people are broke, the group will be broke. So you cannot have a rich group with poor individual members. If the group is not providing resources or providing an opportunity or reciprocating the resources back to the individual members, the group will die and the group is dead. So it is no black group. It is no black people. It's just a bunch of dark-complected American U.S. citizens who is neglected and ostracized from all other people in America. There is no black community. There is no black group, because the group is not giving anything to the members. And the group does not cultivate and recruit new members, because when the members of the group die, if you haven't really trained and provided or left an inheritance to the next generation, your buildings will rot and crumble. Your businesses will die. You will have vacant properties. It would all go to nothing, to naught. So there is no group. So us individual U.S. citizens in America, descendants from slaves, we are destined to be nothing. We are nothing. We are broke bums. We're never going to be nothing unless we make ourselves something. And that comes with each one helping each other, supporting the businesses. Even if you don't even need the product, still support the business. Even if you don't even want the product, still support the business, because you're helping to uplift a member of the group. But if you don't do that, you're just a bunch of individuals who is neglected by the dominant society. And that leads me to the last topic I want to talk about, which is relevant: black flight. Black flight occurred shortly after and possibly before the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was signed, when affluent upper middle class Negroes fled the black community in droves because prior to 1964, it was the law of America and the state governments enforced Jim Crow segregation, preventing black people, American Negroes, from going into white communities, living in white communities, going into Caucasian stores, going into their bathrooms, whites only, blacks only. So these wealthy Negroes had no choice but to live amongst the poor people, the regular Negroes. But they had a deep desire, a deep down desire to get close to the white people. So when King broke the barrier, Jackie Robinson broke the barrier, all the Negroes who was capable of leaving fled the black community, fled Gary, Indiana, fled Bronzeville, fled black communities all over America. This caused the brain drain, economic drain. This deprived the American Negro communities of successful role models. So this left a void to be filled, a leadership void. And this void was filled by criminals, ex-Vietnam veterans, drug dealers, drug addicts, pimps, prostitutes, gangsters. And then you couple that with a welfare system that rewarded single mothers, encouraged single mothers by giving them resources, money, housing to raise children by themselves. And the influx of the cocaine, the heroin, and then the crack cocaine, the addiction. But it was all due to black flight. The ramifications of black flight led to the destruction of the Negro's psyche, the idea of self, and the vision. The whole community was destroyed. 100 years prior to black flight, the American Negro was fighting in the American Civil War to get freedom. We had Reconstruction, built independent institutions, colleges, businesses, and 100 years of progress was thrown away because these affluent sellout Negroes abandoned the people the first chance they got. Just like how Deion Sanders abandoned Jackson State. The first chance, the first time the white man offered him some money, he got up out of there like the road runner, fled. He was only in Jackson State because he had nowhere else to go. Just like the Negroes who was forced to live in Harlem, New York, or in Bronzeville because they had nowhere else to go. But once they opened up the opportunities, really, the only reason white America allowed the Negro to spend their money with them because they saw the power of the black dollar. And the black dollar was used to empower the black community only. And once they allowed the Negro to go spending money at Marshall Fields, Macy's, or whatever, they forgot about the black community. They spending over 90% of the money with the white people. And what that's going to do is that's going to force black businesses into debt, poverty. That's going to cause economic despair. That's going to cause criminal activity elevating because the Negroes with the money aren't looking back. They aren't giving back. They abandoned the black community. And we are now, when you listen to the black music, they all talking about getting up out the hood. Soon as they get a chance, they getting up out the hood. Nobody's talking about building the so-called hood, making the so-called hood into a paradise. Like when a Caucasian come and gentrify the same ghetto after you saw it as nothing, they come in and rebuild it for themselves. But that's what I want to talk about today. And this is issue number 7. I know you're not going to get it because of what I talked about today. You know, you're not going to give it, you're not going to support. It's just what it is, you know. We're just destined to be broke and poor.